Good evening, I'm Piol Tiveros. This is Solar Network News, and these are the Solar headlines.
Team Pinoy senatorial candidates make the rounds in Batangas. The United Nationalist Alliance visits Bohol as Vice President Jejomar Binay warns guest candidates against skipping the coalition sorties. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority proposes the creation of a bus consortia to ease traffic along EDSA. The Commission on Elections rules out manual polls in May after receiving a positive report from the Technical Evaluation Committee. And the main index of the Philippine Stock Exchange hits another all-time high as the government sticks to a 6 to 7% domestic economic growth target this year.
After holding their proclamation rally at the historic Plaza Miranda in Manila yesterday, candidates of the Liberal Party-led coalition kick off their provincial sorties in Batangas. AC Nichols gives us the latest live from Batangas. AC?
PIA administration senatorial candidates spent a busy afternoon making the rounds here in the province of Batangas. Right now, the candidates are still at it as they woo the locals in Lipa City. Earlier, PIA Team Pinoy's first stop was in Batangas City, where they were welcomed by local government officials led by Batangas Governor Vilma Santos at the provincial capital. Batangas is a vote-rich province with roughly around 1.3 million voters in the 2010 elections. While President Aquino skipped the campaign rally here in Batangas, almost all the administration senatorial candidates are present. Only 3 did not show up, namely Senators Antonio Trillanes, Alan Peter Cayetano, and Coco Pimentel. A sea of Batangueños filled the provincial capital to hear what the administration senatorial candidates had to say. Following the campaign rally in Batangas City, Team Pinoy regrouped here at the Plaza Independencia in Lipa City. This is the second and last stop of Team Pinoy in Batangas. PIA tomorrow, Team Pinoy's next stop will be Laguna, where President Aquino is expected to join his Daang Matuwid senatorial bets. PIA?
Thank you. AC Nichols reporting to us live from Batangas. Liberal Party campaign manager Senator Franklin Drilon says the opposition shouldn't be too sensitive over verbal tussles during the campaign period, as these are but normal in politics. AC Nichols is back with more.
During the proclamation rally of the United Nationalists Alliance yesterday, Vice President Jejomar Binay took a swipe at Team Pinoy and the Liberal Party, saying that their senatorial bets are not, quote, mere pretenders, evidently alluding to a line said by President Aquino. But for Liberal Party campaign manager and party vice chairman Senator Franklin Drilon, there is little room for the opposition to be touchy with campaign pronouncements, as verbal tussles go with the territory during campaign period.
I'm not concerned at this point about ruffled feelings. That comes with the campaign.
At the same time, Drilon insisted that there are no so-called common candidates of LP and UNA, referring to former MTRCB Chair Grace Poe, Senator Escudero, and Senator Legarda.
There are no common candidates. The 3 are administration candidates and UNA adopted them. Iyan naman maliwanag na in-adopt lang sila, and it is their privilege. The privilege of UNA to adopt our candidate. We cannot prevent them from doing it.
That is why Drilon sees no reason why UNA should take it against the 3 if they will be unable to join UNA's sorties. Drilon made the clarifications as LP candidates made their rounds in Batangas, the administration slate's first stop outside Metro Manila.
We recognize that Batangas is a very critical province for our campaign. And led by fellow liberals, Governor V and Vice Governor Mark, who are both pillars of our party, and also Senator Ralph Recto. So it is a natural magnet for the senatorial campaign to come to Batangas immediately after Manila.
Batangas Governor Vilma Santos, meanwhile, says she will work hard for a 12-0 win for Team Pinoy in the province. AC Nichols, Solar News.
Malacanang sees nothing wrong with the presence of cabinet secretaries during the Liberal Party's proclamation rally yesterday, saying it was their choice to be there to support the LP candidates. Ina Andulong has more.
The administration went all out in support of the Liberal Party's proclamation rally, so much so that even cabinet secretaries who have nothing to do with the campaign were there present at Plaza Miranda. Malacanang, however, is quick to defend the officials.
Legally, there is no prohibition. Supreme Court has already rendered a decision on that being alter egos of the president, we are allowed, and being political appointees, we are allowed to campaign, and there is no prohibition with that respect.
Malacanang says cabinet secretaries were there only to support the president's senatorial choices, who are expected to support the administration's reform programs in the next 3 years. Presidential spokesman Edwin Lacerda adds, LP pays for the expenses of the secretaries who attend political gatherings. However, the spokesman admits it's a different story for the president, whose attendance at campaign sorties may require the use of government resources. At LP's proclamation rally, for instance, government-owned Radio TV Malacanang was there.
Those are events of the president. You cover them regardless of whatever the president does. You go abroad, you spend for that. That's part of the president's work as a president, and in furtherance of his agenda.
Some observers found the president singing an old tune when he delivered his endorsement speech. The chief executive lashed at anomalous projects of the previous administration, projects he's bashed more than enough in his previous speeches. His spokesman, however, says it's important to look back at these cases to help the public realize how the country has changed since then.
And this is the fruit of what you did when you elected President Aquino, and President Aquino is now asking the entire Filipino people to elect these people that he has chosen in order to push forward good governance, which will translate to a better society, a better situation for all our countrymen.
LP is banking on the president's endorsement for their candidate's victory, reason why the party has consistently urged those who are satisfied with the president's programs to vote for LP's bets. But with just half of LP's senatorial bets landing on top spots in recent surveys, it seems LP still has a lot of convincing to do. Ina Andulong, Solar News.
Vice President Jejomar Binay says the United Nationalist Alliance may drop its 3 guest candidates if they fail to attend the coalition's future sorties. Camille Alemia has details live from Bohol. Camille?
Yes, Pia, the United Nationalist Alliance ends its first leg of campaign sorties here in Bohol. Una's gubernatorial bet is former Carmen Mayor Che de los Reyes, who is now up against re-electionist and Liberal Party bet Governor Edgar Chato. Una, together with its leaders, Vice President Jejomar Binay and Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, visited the municipalities of Loon and Balilihan and the city of Tagbilaran. They held a smaller rally in the towns of Loon and Balilihan and a grand rally at City Square, Tagbilaran. Only 8 of the 9 exclusive senatorial candidates are present. Representative J.B. Ejercito was absent. The 3 guest candidates, Grace Poe and Senators Loren Legarda and Francis Escudero, are yet to be seen on the campaign stage of Una. Vice President Binay says there is a possibility that the coalition will drop the 3 guest candidates from the Una slate if they continue skipping the coalition sorties. This started with Senator Francis Escudero's failure to send a representative to Una's proclamation rally yesterday in Cebu. Binay also admits Una has decided to exclude Escudero's election materials from Una's campaign if Escudero does not appear with them. Binay and former President Joseph Estrada did not endorse Escudero in Una's proclamation rally yesterday, with Estrada even saying he would not publicly endorse someone who he thinks will be a liability to the country. Even in today's sorties at Bohol, Pia, there was still no mention of Escudero. Some Una senatorial candidates also share Binay's sentiment. Former Senator Richard Gordon says the country needs a leader who takes sides, not just someone who stays in the middle. Magsaysay, for her part, says Una's non-inclusion of Escudero serves as an initial reaction of the coalition. She also says Una will not be weakened because of Escudero's absence. Binay, however, says it is still too early to decide on the fate of the 3 guest candidates, as the 3 of them promised to attend some of the sorties of the coalition. Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile, meanwhile, is not too worked up on the issue. Enrile says personally he would want to campaign for the 3 as Legarda, Poe, and Escudero are his considered friends. But Enrile admits he cannot impose the same thing on former President Estrada and Vice President Binay. Pia, earlier today in Loon and Balilihan, local UNA candidates cried foul over suspicious distributions of 3 kilos of rice and PhilHealth cards among local residents. They questioned the local government's timing of the event, which coincides with UNA sorties. Pia, based on the data of the Commission on Elections, Bohol had over 700,000 registered voters in 2010. Also, in the past 3 elections, Bohol has consistently ranked in the top 10 provinces with the highest voter turnout. In fact, the voter turnout in Bohol has always been higher than that in Cebu. Pia?
Thank you, Camila Lemia, reporting live from Bohol. You're seeing live pictures right now from the Vatican City, where Pope Benedict XVI is leading prayers on Ash Wednesday. This is his first public appearance after announcing that he will step down on February 28. Interior Secretary Mar Rojas met top officials of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police to iron out security plans for the campaign period. Miguel Ortega tells us more.
A day after the start of campaign period, police and military top brass were in full force in Camp Crame to map out security plans. For the Department of Interior and Local Government, the biggest concern is still the threat of private armed groups and the proliferation of loose firearms in 15 identified election hotspots.
Kung saan this massive deployment will seek to prevent, para maiwasan, para hindi na nga magsimula ang gulo sa mga lugar na may kasaysayan o may karanasan ng gulo sa nakaraang mga halalan, ay sinisikap na maiwasan ito. No?
Rojas also confirmed that he has been receiving reports of extortion by communist rebels. He reminded candidates not to shell out any kotong money for so-called permit to campaign or revolutionary taxes.
Hinihingan po kayo ng pera. Itong perang ito ay ginagamit laban din po sa inyo, sa ating gobyerno, sa ating mga mamamayan.
The PNP says it has been peaceful so far since Task Force Safe or Secure and Fair Elections 2013 started as early as November. Although authorities admit they cannot be complacent, as tensions usually rise as election day nears. Although compared to the same period last 2010, incidents of election-related violence have reportedly decreased. The PNP also launched a handbook for men in uniform, assigned as security detail for some candidates. The handbook gives tips on home, vehicle, and workplace security, threat detection, and also threat assessment. The handbook defines as well the limitations of security work bodyguards do. Rojas explained in no uncertain terms that this election is the first under President Aquino's watch, and making it as peaceful, orderly, and credible as possible is first and foremost priority for law enforcers. Miguel Ortega, Solar News.